welcome to How to Win the Lottery. I've learned I can't say season numbers because we've changed season numbers so many times. So intro episode. You had a great opening before I started recording, and now you're being your normal weird self. What people love about you. I do think, though, that this is going to be season 15, which might be the third different season 15 we've had. I don't know. Anyway, I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I am Shreds.
Hello, Shreds.
What's up?
We got another one. We closed the big account.
Yeah, I'm Annie Potts and Ghostbusters, slamming my hand on the thing and screaming.
I think it was 3 seasons, 4 seasons. I don't know. Not that long ago, we did 4 Blake Butler books.
Yeah, that's
Spoke
right.
to the Man.
Yeah,
Very difficult module.
it was difficult. Yeah, but in a rewarding sense, and it's interesting because I think that this module is going to be the work of Danielle Chelosky.
Yes.
And I came to her work, I think, through Twitter.
That seems to track.
But through the praises of Blake Butler and our other
She's
boy,
been blurred by Blake and also by B.R. Yeager.
B.R.
and
Yeager.
Maybe others, but those are 2 that I saw.
who our interview with B.R. Yeager is, I think, still our most popular, most downloaded
People love him.
episode. The only episode that we've gotten into an online fight over.
Yeah, for spoiling the end of the book.
That coward backed down, of course, as
Yeah,
all cowards
You
do.
offered to buy him any B.R. Yeager book of his choice, and he said, whatever.
Yeah, he said he lamb lynched it. So the work of Danielle Chelosky, as praised by B.R. Yeager and Blake Butler, occupies a similar space to other stuff like Darcy Wilder, I think, and in the sense that I think it would be very easy to mistake her work for autobiography. Darcy was very, very clear to point out that her work is not autobiography,
Right.
that it is 100%. It's fiction. She's writing a novel. And so in reading Danielle's work, I treated it as though it were fiction. I believe it to be fiction. I think of it in terms of in terms of its literary merit, in terms of metaphor, symbol, character growth, and all things like that. I'm not going to treat it like it's someone's journal, even though it has very journalistic and confessional poet qualities.
Especially her first
to
one,
it.
yes.
Yeah. So we'll be reading 2 chapbooks, one of which is titled Cheat, the other one of which is titled Show Me Your Face.
Yeah, those are both available on her site rather inexpensively. We're going to do those together next week.
And then we will also be reading Pregaming Grief,
Yes.
which is a bit longer and I think is a Hobart book.
It's a little bit tougher to find, but you can get it online, but it's not on Amazon. It's not on Barnes & Noble. You have to get through the publisher directly.
Good. So support indie publishing in that way. And then the next one is Baby Bruise.
And we're also alongside with that, not out yet, I think, by the time this episode definitely not by the time this episode comes out, but I don't even think by the time that episode comes out, but she also has a short story collection coming out, I believe, in October called Female Loneliness Epidemic that we will also be covering in that same episode.
Yeah. After which point we will roll all that stuff up into one ball of silly putty taking the form of questions, and we will be throwing that ball of silly putty at her as fast as we possibly can. And neither of us to this point have any real experience with her work.
Correct.
Obviously, that is a bit of a dicey scenario going into it when you think, oh, we're going to interview this person at the end of it, because what if we don't like any of her work?
Right. I think even she was caught off guard because when I emailed her, she's like, "You're going to do an entire season of my work?" And I'm like, yeah.
Right, because she's not as like Blake has a significant catalog. Danielle has.
She's written more than me.
It's building. She's like more in a building process. Sure. And I think probably her first couple things, those PDFs, I think gained her some attention and notoriety. Sure. And she does readings in New York City all the time, which we could probably get out to one before
cool.
any of this airs. Yeah, but there's always a risk when there's an author whose work you're not terribly familiar with. But I think that I think it'll be interesting and good.
I like the format. I think it worked with Blake. I think it'll work with any other author that we want, unless we hate their work, which I don't think that we're going to. I also think it's cool just to like, not that we're a huge podcast. We do have 30,000 listeners.
30,000 strong.
But I think it's important to just, champion anybody we can. Also, like, it's cool when people will talk to us. And so I like the idea.
Well, that's also, I also like that, like there are some authors that we've interviewed that have been on major presses that don't need the promotion as much. And it's nice to talk to people in indie presses because also like indie presses are also kind of where our hearts are at with this stuff anyway. So yeah. So the Danielle Chelosky module coming soon to its
podcatcher
near you.
So episode 1, cheat and show me your face. Episode 2, pre-gaming grief. Episode 3, baby bruise and female loneliness epidemic. And then an interview with her, and then we'll get on to the next module. And the next module is going to be a Great American Novel module. You'll hear about that after this season. But Treads, anything else to say in this episode?
No, I don't think so.
Just keep reading.
Yeah. Theme song.